Hey, Regina here. I'm coming to you from the Tarot and Time reading room in Kent, Connecticut, and I'm here to talk to you about the month of November. So we're into Scorpio season. It started on the 23rd of October, and we are just diving right into Scorpio season. It's one of my favorite times of year. Month of November in general, it is the month I was born, so that's part of it, but I am a Sagittarius. But I've always had a thing with Scorpio. Even before I knew what Scorpio even was, I was always into that time of year. Not so much the Halloween aspect, if you've heard me talk about it before. I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, so I didn't grow up celebrating those holidays. Actually, that was a holiday that was just really portrayed as evil to me. So it took me a while to get used to the idea of Halloween. And I got a little bit more understanding as I learned about the Day of the Dead and learned about the veil being thin. And I found that aspect of Halloween a little bit more comforting in a way than just all the horror movies and scary masks that I was so freaked out about as a kid. If you want to hear more about the Jehovah's Witness stuff, I wrote a blog on our website, tarotandtime.com. And it's a feature blog, and it's called The Devils in the Cupcakes. And it's about the holidays, mostly birthdays, and a little bit about Christmas. So head over there if you want to hear more. So November. So let's think about this. We completed 30 days of Libra, right? And Libra is that relationship sign ruled by Venus. And so we went through these 30 days to kind of take note of where we were at with our relationship with ourselves, where we were at with our relationship with others, and were we holding our value, were we valuing ourselves, what relationships work, what relationships need editing, what relationships need to go. And so that's what we've been coming out of, this Libra time. And now we're moving deep into the 30 days of Scorpio. Scorpio being ruled, its original ruler being Mars, the planet of action, Mars. But later, the newer ruler was the planet Pluto, planet of transformation and change. And yes, we do still call it a planet. So there's a lot there about power with Mars. There's a lot there about change and death and rebirth. Right? So this isn't a season to be scared of. This is a season to harness the energy. This is the time to take what we've learned through Libra season and now transform it through Scorpio season. So I was thinking about the planets in Scorpio. I personally have 4 planets in Scorpio. So I'm looking, and as we start the month off, we have not only the sun in Scorpio, but we have Mars right next to it. So its original ruler right there with it, along with the planet Mercury, which is in Scorpio, it's considered a psychic placement. So the one thing I know, being so much Scorpio and reading about Scorpio, is that Scorpio never forgets. And sometimes I think that our logical mind forgets things or forgets things on purpose, blocks things out. But the watery body, it doesn't forget. I remember one time going to get a massage, and the woman obviously was psychic. And she said to me on one of the return visits, she said, "Oh, I'll never forget that story that you told me about that time." And she explained the time. And she started telling a story about a situation that I had when I was younger, getting a massage. And it was not a very good memory. And I really hadn't told anyone that story, but my body remembered it. And she picked up that storyline for me. And it was a very strong storyline for her. So that to me is an example of Scorpio energy. The body is not going to forget. If you have Scorpio planets, then even more so that we're known to kind of hold on to things for a while or take a long time to process things. Or if someone wrongs us, it's not something we may forgive, but we will never forget. Okay, so there's a little bit that kind of energy in the air right now. And so sometimes we can think about Scorpio season like, well, I don't have anything I need to transform, or there's nothing that's on my mind. But what is in your body? What's in the fluid body? And so the answers to that can only be found by observing, by watching, by seeing, and by feeling what comes up during the season. Now, we just came out of 2 intense eclipses. First one was on October 14th. It was a solar eclipse on the new moon in Libra. Then we moved into a lunar eclipse on the full moon in Taurus on the 28th of October. So we want to kind of pay attention what was going on the 14th, what was going on the 28th, what came up for us, and allow ourselves to see what needs to be transformed, okay? And maybe also where our power is and what we need to step into more of. So we will be through the month of November to about, let's see, when do we go? Usually around the 21st. This will change signs. This year, it looks like it's on the day before Thanksgiving, on the 22nd, I believe. Yeah, Sun will enter Sagittarius at 9:03 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 22nd. So we're going to finish up our month in this freedom-loving, expansive sign of Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter. Sagittarius being associated with the student and the teacher, with the, I remember learning in some of my tarot courses that the Temperance card with the angel there, it's almost like the greeting on the other side, when we can finally see the bigger picture and understand things more. Because Sagittarius, it wants to know that kind of stuff. Sagittarius loves to question everything. So we're coming out again from this Libra season, through all these relationships, through these themes of value, through contracts, and kind of like the line in the sand, so to speak, of what's yours, what's mine, how do we do this together, or do we need to part? Through this season of transformation and change and power of Scorpio, and then towards the end of the month experiencing the bigger picture of Sagittarius. And so usually things lighten up a little bit as we move into Sagittarius season. So I'm going to break down this video week by week, and don't worry, I'm going to repost these all later so you don't have to absorb this all now. The weeks will be time-stamped below. Feel free to pop around the video as you would like, and then I will go into a pick-a-pile reading, and but the astrology beginning will apply into the reading also. So let's start off where we left off last month, which was on November 6th. So November 6th through 12th. And we're starting off, so we have to remember, we have a bunch of planets in Scorpio. We have Mercury, the planet of communication, Mars, the planet of action, and the Sun, how we show up in the world. We also do have another planet, which I'm still learning about, Humaya, which is one of the newer planets, and very feminine planet, very environmentally concerned planet. So technically we have 4 planets in the sign of Scorpio. And we know that the veil is still thin coming down through this from October 31st. So we start the week off with a grand Earth trine. So that means that we have 3 planets close in degrees making this triangle, this positive aspect, okay? We have Venus in the sign of Virgo, we have Uranus in the sign of Taurus, and Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. So they're kind of bouncing off of each other. Now, there's a lot of Earth, okay? And sometimes Earth can get a little fixed and not want to budge, okay? It's also Scorpio season, which is a fixed sign. So we may feel a little unmovable in some ways, and we have to remember that others are feeling that way too. We're a little low on air, so it's going to be really important to get fresh air, to get things moving if things feel stagnant. Maybe getting a fan on, maybe burning some sage and getting the air moving, okay? So on Monday the 6th, it's easy to get fixated. So if you're going to be fixated, then put it towards your paperwork and getting organized, okay? Monday the 6th, the moon will move into the sign of Virgo in the afternoon. So Tuesday the 7th, election day, will be all in the sign of Virgo. So lots of earth energy, like I said, low air, make sure to keep the air moving. On Wednesday the 8th, we continue the grand trine, although this time it's with the moon, Uranus, and Pluto, okay, all in these earth signs. Now, the moon's going to be really close to Venus, and so I put down kindness, please, 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 especially to yourself. Be kind and gentle. Thursday the 9th, the moon's going to be together with Venus again. It's also going to be trine Pluto. This is a great time to advocate for yourself. Okay, if there's things that you know you need to be doing, advocate for yourself. Thursday the 9th. On Friday the 10th, we have a weekend where the moon will be in Libra on Friday until Saturday. And then on Saturday, right after lunch, it's going to move into Scorpio because we're heading to the new moon in Scorpio. So on Friday the 10th, what did you learn about yourself these past few weeks? What have I learned through, all that we talked about, Libra through Scorpio? It's a good time to take action on what you've learned, okay? As we move into the weekend, heading towards that new moon in Scorpio, again, we're still low on air. We know things can be a little bit moody. We have a square going with Pluto, so emotions can run high. Saturday is a good day to focus on your work. Sunday, we have a lot of deep feelings going on because the moon, not only is the sun in the watery sign of Scorpio, but the moon is going to be trine Neptune. So actually, we have the sun and the moon in the sign of Scorpio as of Saturday afternoon into Sunday, and then even more water with this trine with Neptune. Neptune can help us with deep healing, and so can Scorpio. So be kind and move slowly and be gentle to yourself because water signs need more rest than other signs, okay? You're also waiting for this energy to show you what needs to transform, what memories are being held, okay? So it's a good time to get a pen and a paper out and to be extra gentle to yourself as we move into this new moon the following week. So get your moon water out. Now we'll move into the week of November 13th through November 19th, and we're going to start off with the new moon. So it happens at 4:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, this is a pretty intense time with all this watery energy going on. So we have the moon making a square with Saturn, but it's making a trine with Neptune. What is ready to heal? Feel it happening, envision it happening. Allow yourself the space. If you need to cry, if you need to spend some time alone, Scorpio loves time alone, okay? So don't feel like something's wrong if that's the case. Not just Monday the 13th, but a few days before and a few days after, okay? Now, the moon's going to quickly move out of Sagittarius out of Scorpio, and it'll be in Sagittarius by the evening, so that may lighten things up for you. It's going to be square Saturn and Mercury on Tuesday, so just be really careful with your words because us Sagittariuses, sometimes we can get a little sloppy with our words, or we think it's funny and it's not. So just sometimes jokes can hurt people. Be morally aware of that on the 14th. On the 15th, we have a square with Neptune, and it's easy to get lost in the emotions, or it's also easy to want to escape the emotions by just kind of jumping ahead because Sagittarius loves to jump ahead. So make a choice not to let the emotions get the best of you. Try to keep things a little bit lighter on Wednesday the 15th. Thursday the 16th, today is not the day to spend with those that you do not want to. Your tolerance is going to be really low on the 16th, okay? So there's a square with Venus, but there is a trine with Jupiter. So you may want to just try to stay grounded. You can use some grounding stones, any black stone like hematite or shungite or any of those kind of things. Stay grounded, stay clear. The moon's going to move into Capricorn. So we will have that help of Capricorn coming in. Now, the 17th, I have a star on it, and that's because Mars is having a trine with Neptune and Pisces. There's a lot of heavy intuition going on right now. Now, remember, when I talk about intuition, I often go to my belly. That's where most of us think intuition is, but I find it can be all over the body, and you hear me talking about dread a lot. When you feel dread, please pay attention to it, especially on Friday the 17th, because intuition is so high, okay? There's a lot of positive aspects for the 17th. Now, we're going to move into an Aquarius weekend, okay? So anything's possible on an Aquarius weekend. Saturday, there is a the moon's going to be together with Pluto. Pluto's the planet that, one of the planets that rules Scorpio. Pluto also rules sex. So even though it's transformation and change, there still can be a lot of sexy energy available, okay? So take advantage of that on Saturday the 18th. And then on the 19th, you want to just be adaptable. If you can be adaptable, you might just have fun. Because Aquarius is known for last minute plan changes, things out of the blue, last minute ideas, but they might be really fabulous ideas, okay? So be open to that over the weekend. Now, we're gonna move into the week of 11/20. This is Thanksgiving week, and we start off on Monday the 20th with the moon still in Aquarius until about 9:30 in the morning. Okay, there is a square going on with Mars. Try to get out and socialize a little bit, but just keep things light, please, okay? Tuesday the 21st, there's a lot of creativity. The moon's going to be in Pisces. We got a lot of water going on here. There's a lot of creativity involved when you have water involved. There's a square with Mercury, so you got to keep things a little light because Mercury is the planet of communication. But there's a trine with Mars. So this is a good time maybe to take some alone time, especially outside alone time if the weather's nice. And you may find that your creative energy is through the roof that day. Now, the 22nd, we have Mars and Scorpio forming a sextile with Pluto and Capricorn. That's a positive thing. There's an opportunity here on the 22nd. I also have a star on the 22nd. There's an opportunity for rooted commitment, which means we can really get clear. We can take our dreams and start bringing them into reality. We can get really grounded about what it is that we want to take action about. The sun is going to move into the sign of Sagittarius in the morning, and then the moon will move into the sign of Aries by lunchtime, okay? So take the opportunity. Now, happy Thanksgiving on Thursday the 23rd. You know, it's a fiery, fiery day. I mean, it's not my top pick to go sit with family and try to get along or try not to get too emotional. But you're going to have to make a conscious decision to do so. If you find that your dread is extremely high, which it may be, if you find that you just are very reluctant to go for the plans that you made, you may want to consider making new plans, okay? Now, there is a nice trine with Mercury, so hopefully conversation will go well, although it may be very fiery. But Venus is going to be opposite the moon, and Venus rules relationships, especially relationships with women. So, and then it's opposite the moon in Aries, so it's kind of like this man-woman thing across from each other. So we have to find balance. And if we know that the situation is already tough, you may want to make other arrangements, okay? But if not, go in with some deep breaths. Know that it's fiery, so try to stay cool, calm, and maybe step outside for some fresh air often, okay? Now, Friday the 24th, Mars is going to move into the sign of Sagittarius, so it's leaving Scorpio. This may be a little bit of relief to some of you, and it's going to go into the more playful sign of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is always thinking about the future because it's like that arrow being shot forward, right? So this is a time where you can start taking action about some of those things, some of those ideas. Maybe you start to plan a trip, or maybe you start thinking about renovation plans or something like that, and you start having ideas of the future. Now, the moon is going to move into Taurus in the afternoon. And there's going to be a trine with Mercury. It's going to be opposite Venus. The moon's going to be square Pluto. There's a lot here about freedom, Sagittarius season. So on Friday, do something to feel free, okay? Especially if you had a hard time on Thanksgiving. Do something that makes you feel free, especially if yesterday was hard. So maybe you just like go take a long walk and just go whichever way you want to, or maybe you go shopping and you just daydream, but you have the freedom to move. Maybe you don't keep as tough of a schedule on you on Friday as much as you can, or at least in the evening, okay? So then we move into the weekend. And the weekend, the moon's going to be in Taurus most of the weekend until about 7:40 p.m. on Sunday. So Taurus rules all the beautiful things, right? It rules jewelry and it rules clothing and all those beautiful things that us women love so much, and probably some men too. Mercury, the planet of communication, you know how we're always talking about Mercury retrogrades and saying like don't make big purchases during Mercury retrograde. Well, Mercury retrograde shadow begins the weekend of the 25th and 26th. And I personally shop right up to Mercury retrograde, which is going to begin on December 13th, and it's going to run right through the holidays until January 1st. So this is a really good time to go shopping and get some of the major purchases done before retrograde starts on the 13th. So Taurus is a great time to do that. May feel good, and there's lots of sales over the holiday weekend, okay? So just keep in mind that Mercury retrograde beginning 12/13, not super convenient for the holidays. And keep in mind too, we are heading to a full moon. So those Thanksgiving plans, when they're fiery and heated, we are heading towards that big ball of fire, heading towards the big, thinking of the sun. Keep in mind that we're heading to a full Gemini moon, okay? So the full moon will take place on Monday, the 27th. So let's move into the next week, Monday, the 27th, and we're going to go into December 3rd. So the full Gemini moon, and it's going to be opposite Mars, square Saturn, and trine Pluto. We also have Mercury square Neptune on Monday. The key word that I wrote down is empathy. And try having some empathy for yourself and have some empathy about the old wounds that are ready to heal, okay? Be gentle. Allow those things to show themselves and take it slow. Just take it slow on the full moon. Now, the 28th, we have the moon will be in Gemini. It's going to be opposite Mercury that rules Gemini. It's going to be trine Venus and square Neptune. So just be conscious of your words because there's a lot of Mercury energy going on. There's an opposition with the moon and Mercury. And so let's just be careful what comes out of our mouth, especially Sagittarius season, okay? Now, Wednesday the 29th, we have a moon square Neptune. The moon will be in the sign of Cancer. So there's still a lot of water going on. So show up for yourself, get real. Because when we have Neptune, square with Neptune, right? Neptune kind of likes to keep us foggy and creative, but sometimes it can be really unrealistic. And we need to show up for ourselves so great things can happen, okay? We got to get our heads out of the clouds. Now, the 30th, things are lightening up a little bit. The 30th is a really smooth day as far as there's not a lot of aspects going on, okay? So you can make the most of it because there's nothing like pushing up against you. So be good to yourself. Enjoy the 30th. Friday the 1st, we have the moon square Venus. So the moon will be in the sign of Cancer till 11 a.m. Then it's going to move into the sign of Leo. We have Mercury, the planet of communication, leaving the playful sign of Sagittarius and entering the serious, work-orientated sign of Capricorn, okay? So that's on Friday the 1st, and then we move into a beautiful Leo weekend. So on Friday, be considerate of others today, not just yourself, okay? And then as you move into the weekend, remember that there's some moody energy. We've got an opposition going on with Pluto. There's some moody energy, but lots of joy can be there if you're kind to people, if you function from the heart. Leo rules the heart, okay? And then on Sunday, be open to plan changes because even though there's a beautiful trine with Mercury, there's a square with Uranus, this kind of thing. And Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius, one of the planets. And it is that lightning bolt of unexpected. Now, it can envision it being wonderful, unexpected things. It could be old friends coming to town. It could be an opportunity that shows up. But keep in mind that you want to be able to adapt on Sunday the 3rd. Okay, so that is our month ahead review. And it looks like there's a lot happening this month, but I feel like there was even more happening last month, and now we're kind of absorbing, taking note, and moving forward, healing. Okay, so I'm going to go into a pick a pile reading. I chose for some of the piles here, I chose some stones. I have for pile number 1 this fibrous malachite. For pile number 2, I've got this nice chunk of citrine. And for pile number 3, this beautiful celestite. Okay, so go ahead, whichever pile jumped out to you first, that's your pile. And let's get started. Pile number 1, this lovely piece of fibrous malachite. And I picked up the card that came with it about malachite. So it says malachite is an extremely powerful metaphysical stone, often called the powerful stone of transformation. Interesting, it's Scorpio season, which is also transformation. A deep cleaner that absorbs negative energies and contamination from vicinity wherever placed. Clears and activates the chakras and attunes to spiritual guidance, aids in healing and positive transformation, brings abundance and guards against EMF, electromagnetical, I don't think I'm going to remember what that stands for, electromagnetic frequency, right? And that is a piece that is coming from the Congo. All right. So pile number 1, you've already got a lot of heavy themes of transformation and change this Scorpio season. So let's see what you need to know, pile number 1. I'm working with a couple different decks, and I'm starting off with the 7 of Swords from the Curious Creatures deck. So somebody here is sneaking off with this caged bird, okay? Sneaking off. 7. And 7 is our number of the year as we approach the end of the year, our spiritual path. Swords is the mind or thought. And then they're sneaking off with 2 swords on the bird. Some kind of relationship happening here, okay? Let's see what else we've got here. In the heart of the matter, we've got the 8 of Pentacles. This is from the Relative Tarot. So the heart of the matter, 8 of Pentacles, is a card of hard work, long-term work, building something, okay? So our first card kind of indicating almost like something's being taken. This card showing that our heart is reflecting all the hard work we've put in. Supporting the heart of the matter, we have the 2 of Wands. So there's the 2, the relationship here. Interesting that he was holding 2. Here is the road ahead. Kind of reminds me of Libra season, contemplating the road ahead with others. Okay. And our foundation card of this reading, let's see which one wants to be the foundation, is the Page of Swords. All right. Interesting card. Young energy of a page, swords. It's like communication. He's putting that sword in his throat. Interesting, we started with these swords. Okay. Almost like it reminds me of that expression, like eating your words. I'm kind of getting that there's a relationship here, almost like, I don't know, I'm getting a little bit of like manipulation kind of energy. Like you've worked long and hard for something, but it's almost like you're this caged bird. There's this idea of freedom. There's this idea of like, should I stay or should I go? And I think you've been holding back your voice for a long time. That's what I'm getting. Behind the scenes, we have the moon. Very intuitive. She's howling. She looks like a bride. I'm just getting that you've been in a committed relationship for a long time, that you haven't been free. There's the Hermit. Your path of truth, your inner guide. Okay, this is behind the scenes. 2 major arcanas, major secret of life cards behind the scenes. So it's almost like you've known, maybe you've been holding back your howl. See, as you move into the future position, we have the 3 of Wands. Movement forward, contemplating your move. And the Nine of Cups. Got this genie bottle down here. There's a lot of emotions. Sometimes it can be like a little bit delusional. I'm going to pull a few more cards here. What's I need to know here? Pile number 1. Okay. I have the 8 of Swords. And the 7 of Pentacles. Contemplating your next move. Using tarot cards even. Okay. So basically what I'm getting here is that there was a relationship, something, this can be love, this can be friends, this can be work, but there's something here where it's almost like, this reminds me of like being poached or something, right? Put in the cage, contained. There's been a lot of hard work. So I think this is something you've been in a long time, but there's this contemplation about like, hey, I really don't know. I think I really want freedom. And this is the foundation of the whole reading here. It's almost like maybe you were taught this kind of like, keep your words to yourself, keep it to yourself. And then it's played out in your relationship too. I feel like this is a very committed relationship, but you are really seeing that it can't function like this. Contemplating your moves. 8 of Swords, feeling stuck. And 7 of Pentacles, really contemplating what the next step is. So let me just pull a couple more. What is the most important thing pile number 1 needs to know right now? Okay, so the most important thing number 1 needs to know right now is the Fool card. Okay, this is a card number 0. This is a fresh start. There's a new opportunity here. Not everyone's going to understand it, but there is a new opportunity. Here's the 6 of Swords, ready to get in that boat and go. Move forward. And we have the Empress. Okay, she's in her power here. She's giving birth to something new, her new life. Okay, so I see you contemplating this. And I know that you've known that this isn't working for a long time, and you've probably known it a lot through Libra season. Let me pull, this is an oracle deck, so let's see what else we get here. Silver Spoon. Chance. And Brazenness. Okay, so maybe things have been, you've kind of rationalized that things are good in the relationship, or you're financially taken care of. You feel like it's a risk if you move forward, but you do have the brazenness. You do have the energy to be able to walk away from this, because it almost feels like the vibe of like, I don't know if you went into this, I don't want to say willingly, but almost feels like you were trapped. Six of Pentacles. So there's this exchange going on, and this is very Libra. Like it feels almost like making a financial, almost like, like getting divorced and giving, splitting up assets. That's what I'm kind of getting from this. That like you're almost you're in the power position now, whereas before I feel like you were poached. You were taken. Maybe you were really young or something when you got into this relationship, and you were taught as a child to hurt not to hurt others with your words, but you hurt yourself. So I hope this is aligning to you. I'm going to roll some dice and just see what else here. I've got Saturn in Scorpio in the 12th house. Okay, so Saturn is like complying to the rules, or like it's almost like patriarchal in a way of like, this is how it was done. But in Scorpio, we're in Scorpio season, and we know that things need to transform. Maybe there was just some old trauma and old wounds. And the 12th house is the house of karma and the house of cleaning things up. And so I kind of get that this relationship has a karmic vibe to it, that there was some things you really needed to learn. It was kind of reflecting your childhood. I think that's what relationships do in general. And the 12th house, you're ready to clean up this old karmic behavior and you're ready to move forward. Okay, I hope you're aligning with this. So I want to, let's see, I wanted to do these dice again, but I'm gonna hold up 1 second. So that's what I'm getting for you for the month of November. So it's like, this is a good time for that to clean up, okay? So anything else for the month of November that the pile number 1 needs to be concerned with? I got the conflict card, and I got the partnership card, and the drama card. Okay, so it's interesting that there's conflict, yet there's partnership, and there's drama, okay? So be aware that it's pretty heavy drama. Be careful with conflict. Be careful how you use your words, but you do need to advocate for yourself. You need to almost make this partnership with yourself, make a deal with yourself. Please be careful if you're leaving one relationship not to rush into the next relationship, as us humans love to do. This is going to cause a lot of drama, okay? So I'm going to give you some advice, best advice for pile 1. I got the Oracle card, which is funny. It's almost like listening to this video. And the Kindred card. So please be this friend to yourself. Please reach out to people who can treat you with kindness like that, because you're ready to break this cycle, all right? Now, I'm going to give you some, you might want to get a piece of malachite to help you with the transformation. That might be a good thing for you. And let's just roll the dice to see some dates that would for the month of November, okay? So we have the planet Neptune in the sign of Gemini in the 4th house, okay? So Neptune rules the sign Pisces. So we want to pay attention to the days that the moon is in the sign of Pisces, okay? So where is that in the month of November? Well, let's see. We will be in Pisces on the 20th, 21st, 22nd, all right? Those are going to be some power days for you. We also rolled Gemini, and remember we have a full Gemini moon this month. So that is going to be on the 27th of November, okay? And then it will also go into the 28th. And it also will be the evening of the 26th. Those are some powerful times for you. Now you rolled the 4th house, and the 4th house is Cancer's house. And so we want to keep an eye out for when the moon is in the sign of Cancer, which will be on, when will you be in Cancer? Right after Gemini. So you have that whole week of the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 1st. Okay, those are your power days. Remember that the full moons are dramatic. Keep that in mind. And I wish you all the best, pile number 1. Pile number 2, this nice chunk of citrine here. I'm going to read you the information card. It says, citrine is called the success stone as it brings wealth, prosperity, and success. Attracts happiness and good fortune, revitalizes the mind, raises self-esteem and self-confidence, activates creativity, encourages self-expression. Citrine is considered a healing crystal for the solar plexus chakra, also known as the merchant stone, as it brings luck to businesses. Okay, so let's see what you need to know, pile number 2. I have a few cards here, haven't looked at any of them yet, and let's see what we have getting started. First card that we are starting with is the Magician. What a great start for you, pile number 2. The Magician is associated with the sign Scorpio, as it was ruled by the planet Pluto and co-ruled by the planet Mars. I love that this is a woman version of the Magician from the Witch's Garden deck by Sasha Graham. And so here you are. You have the first teacher of the major arcanas, or major secret of life cards, teaching you that anything and everything is possible, okay? Great card to show up for Scorpio season. And you have Citrine, the stone of success. So it looks like you're gonna have a successful month of sorting through those emotions, transforming and moving forward into your power. For the heart position of the reading, we have the King of Wands. He looks like a jolly guy. King of Wands, King of Fire, King of Passion, Freedom. And he is there in the heart position of your reading. Now, supporting the heart, we have another king. We have the King of Cups, and he is like a great therapist. He's emotionally supportive. He's a good listener, and he's in a power position. So you're starting off with the Magician, followed by two kings. Pretty nice situation. And let's see what your foundation is of the reading. Well, we have the Tower card. Okay, this is an interesting version of the Tower from the Curious Creatures deck. So we've got topped and bottomed with major arcanas. So the Magician telling us anything and everything's possible, and the Tower coming in to clear the way for us of what doesn't work, okay? I see you doing like a deep dive into your emotions. Maybe you have some old trauma or some old stuff, like we all do, that is really ready to surface and come up. This would be a fabulous time for you to be in therapy, or to be doing some, even if, you know, maybe you've done a lot of therapy, maybe you're just getting your journal out, pulling some cards for yourself, paying attention to your emotions and expressing it, okay? In the background, we have the Lovers card. All right, this is, Relative Tarot has a lot of different versions of the Lovers card. So this is behind the scenes here in the background, major arcana about, really, it's about love, but it's really about choices. So we've got that going on in the background along with the Justice card. All right. So it looks to me like these are very much like relationship cards. Justice is the balance. It's Libra. Libra is the house of relationships. We're just coming out of Libra season. This is a Gemini card. We're going to be approaching a Gemini full moon. Two major arcanas, major secrets of life, the real meat of the reading. They're here behind the scenes that you're ready to work through some of this. This could be an old breakup or a divorce, something like that in the background here that you are ready. Now, as you move into the future position, you got the Ace of Cups, and this is the Cup of Satisfaction. So it's not a bad one to have here showing up in your future position, along with another ace, the Ace of Swords. Okay, new thought, new idea. I love that there's a crown on here when you had two kings here, okay? So whatever it is that you're moving through, you are moving through it. You're doing a great job. You're showing up for yourself, and there's new, fresh energy on the other side of this coming in, okay? It feels very successful. Now, let's pull a few more. What else does pile number one need to know? What is the most important thing right now that pile number one needs to understand? Well, we got a few here, and they're oracle cards. Civil Servant, Bohemian, feels very opposite. Got a couple more here. One says Chivalry, Loyalty, and Dictatorship. That's a lot of cards, but let's see. Feels almost like there's like two extremes going on here between the Civil Servant and the Bohemian. Okay, let me just pull a few more. Okay. Okay. Interesting, the Four of Cups here, but it's almost like the Ace of Cups is being handed to you, okay, which was the same thing as here. So it's like, this is showing me that you may feel like you've been waiting for something, or you may be kind of bored with like what, almost like the Three of Cups is almost like your friend groups and the fun times, but it's almost like you're just kind of like, okay, but there's this new cup coming in, all right? Along with the Nine of Pentacles, where everything's so well and beautiful. And another ace over here, the Ace of Pentacles, all right? So if you're feeling like, maybe you feel like your work or something doesn't really suit who you are, but there's new energy coming in is what I'm getting. So I just see you doing a deep dive or having done a deep dive. I see you clearing up old stuff. I see a lot of fresh, crispy energy, okay? And a little bit more like peace with yourself to show up in the world the way you want to show up in the world, okay? Kind of this both, like, because like I got this civil servant and this dictatorship that are all kind of like Saturn, stern kind of chivalry here. And then there's this loyalty, like being loyal to yourself. And then there's this Bohemian card that just shows me, kind of feels like who you just really want to be is to just be yourself. And kind of, you still have all this aspects to you, but those things are kind of like, they helped you to be able to break into being who you really want to be, is what I'm getting. So there's a lot of fresh energy here, and it's really beautiful. Now I'm going to roll some dice just to see if there's anything else here that you need to know. And you've got the Sun, Pisces, 10th house. That's kind of interesting because like the Sun in the 10th house in general, 10th house is like Capricorn's house. It's your career. It's your standing, and it's like you're standing in the world. Okay. Like I feel like civil servant, dictatorship, those are like 10th house Saturn. Okay. But you got it in the sign, you got Pisces in the 10th house. And that's funny. Pisces rules my 10th house. Okay. So it makes sense that I would work in this field. Right. And that's what I'm getting from you too, that like you know how to work, you know how to show up, you know all the Saturn like things, but now you're going to do it your way. That's what I'm getting. Okay. So I'm going to roll the dice one more time. And this time I'm looking for dates for you for the month. Okay. Power days. And I have Neptune in the sign of Cancer in the 8th house, which is interesting. Those are all water placements, okay? So Neptune rules the sign Pisces. And so let's see, what days are the moon in the sign of Pisces? Because those are going to be the power days for you. We have Tuesday, the 21st of November, the 20th and the 22nd. Really, it's the evening of the 20th through to the 22nd lunchtime, okay? Also, we have the sign of Cancer. So we want to look at what days the moon is in Cancer. We have the 29th, middle of the night, through to 11 a.m. on Friday the 1st, okay? We have the 8th house, which is Scorpio's house. So we know that those Scorpio, the whole month is mostly Scorpio season. But remember on the 12th, we move towards the new moon in Scorpio. So I think this new moon in Scorpio on the 13th is going to be a really powerful time for everyone, but especially you, because you are willing, you have been doing the hard work, and want you to pay attention to any other scraps of what's going to come up during this new moon. Okay, I think there's going to be some new friend groups, and there's going to be some new joy, new opportunity as you show up more authentically to you. Okay, you may want to get a piece of citrine because it's a success stone, and it can help you be truly self-express who you truly are successfully. Okay, thank you for joining me, pile number 2. Pile number 3, you chose this beautiful Celestite. I love this stone. It's so beautiful. Okay, I'm going to read you the information card that goes with it. It says Celestite is strongly connected to divine energy and best used for pursuing spiritual strength and higher spiritual awareness. Releases strong energies of tranquility and peace. It possesses a soft, serene vibration that soothes and comforts the spirit, grants direct access to the angelic realms, and enhances inner wisdom. Ideal for one seeking harmony and connection. And this piece came from Madagascar. All right, so let's see what you need to know as we move into the month of November. I'm working with a few different decks, and I haven't looked at any of them yet. So we're starting off with your first card. We have the Four of Pentacles. Here we go. This is from The Witch's Garden, Sasha Graham's newest deck. And so Four of Pentacles, he's built in stone, right? So he's really, there's this, something really strong has been built here, built to last. 4 is a pause number. Pentacles is anything of value, okay? Starting off with that as your first card of what's important for you to know right now. Let's go into the heart of the matter. I do have the Death card here. Does not mean anyone's dying. It's definitely a reflection of Scorpio season. I love this version of it where she's looking past. She's looking into the future, okay? So this is actually a real position of power to be able to deal with the transformation and change and to look forward into the future. It's the heart of the matter. Let's see what's supporting the heart of the matter. We have the Lover's card. So both the Death card and the Lover's card are part of the Major Arcana series or Major Secret of Life cards. And they're really teaching us the things that we really need to learn. Whereas this other card here is more like man's everyday life, okay? Not that we don't need to learn those things, but this is the real meat of the reading. So there's change showing up in the heart and the Lovers here. So there may be changes in relationships. It is the Lovers. But the Lovers is really about choices, okay? So maybe it's like looking past some of these choices that we've made and seeing hope past that, okay? Now your foundation of the reading is the Five of Cups. So there's definitely been some emotional loss. Maybe there was a breakup or maybe a friendship breakup. 5 is a number of change, okay? So there definitely is like you're ready for change and you're starting to get ready to acknowledge that there's more cups back here that aren't being looked at, okay? They're just being looked at, the ones that are spilled. So you're almost ready to look at that, all right? Now behind the scenes, we have the Five of Wands, which is like a competitive card, but it's also another 5 of change. In the background here next to the Death card, along with the Queen of Cups, Queen of Emotions, okay? So I don't know if you had a recent breakup or what, or maybe it's just, it could even be in the workplace as maybe something didn't work out with someone that you hired or someone that your coworker, maybe there was some competition. I kind of get the impression that you did some therapy over it or something and are kind of coming out the other side of it now. Here's the Queen of Wands, and she is triumphantly coming out the other side of this into your future position. And she's absolutely beautiful. She's Queen of Fire, moving forward, a passion for life there. Along with the Nine of Pentacles, where everything is really well and beautiful and things, here's the wine and there's the grapes, and that's taken a long time. That's a process, okay? So you have really 2 beautiful cards in your future position. It looks to me that you are a very solid person who, you've been through some changes lately, and change is never easy, especially if it has to do with love. But there are better times coming out the other side of this, okay? Let me pull a few more cards. Did I miss anything? What is important for pile number 3 to know? First card is an oracle called the Rite of Passage, okay? Now, I kind of get, it's interesting that she's like an older bride almost. I'm assuming that's what she is. A rite of passage, like you really learn something, like you have the green light to move forward. And the Ten of Wands. And the Ten of Wands is like usually carrying a heavy burden, but she looks like she's like playing it like a harp. A 10 is also moving into, in numerology we call it a 1, moving into a new stage. So you've been I almost get like you've been elegant about whatever it is that's been going on, and now things are starting to shift, okay? Anything else that pile number 3 needs to know? There's the 3 of Cups. It almost looks like things are being handed down. It looks generational to me. And the Queen of Cups. You had her over here, and now you've got her over here, okay? So Queen of Cups kind of usually has like that nurturing energy. She's like, let me see here. I just want to pull a couple more, so I feel like I'm missing something here. With the 3 of Pentacles and another 3 of Cups. Okay, so I'm kind of getting the impression that, like, all right, I'm just going to say what I think it is. I don't know if you've got recently divorced, if there's been a breakup. I kind of get the vibe that, like, your family line didn't do this. This isn't what people did. Maybe not everybody understands why you did it. Maybe there's some people talking about you. Now, if it isn't a divorce, maybe it was just like, maybe you left behind a job, or you left behind some kind of relationship that wasn't working for you. Sometimes this 3 of Cups can look like chatty people talking, okay? This one feels like family, like, no, that's not how we do things. This is the same card. But here's the 3 of Pentacles, and like they're tumbling around, but they're trying to build something new, okay? So I kind of get like almost like mom vibes, like mom's like, hey, that's not the way we do it. But that's the way that you have done it, and that was the path for you. And sometimes I like to tell people that, you know, a lot of times some of the things that we get mad at ourselves for, when we really research our astrology chart, we find that in our astrology chart, and it can give us some compassion and peace for ourselves about the choices we've made. You needed to learn something here. Interesting that this camouflage came up. It's kind of an interesting one. All right, anything else for pile number 3? Innocence and inheritance, okay? So I almost get like, I don't know, just kind of getting parent vibes, like they wanted you to do something a different way, but that's not your way. And maybe you inherited the behavior of like, we don't do that. We just deal with it. We don't get divorced, or we don't leave behind things that are supposed to be built in stone. But the bottom line is that you're built in stone. And so you will continue to do well. And sometimes you do need to make these changes. You've got this Celestite energy. That's a really high energy, a higher vibration. And so I want you to forgive yourself, and to know that you're moving in the right way, that you are I kind of get this unbreakable, unstoppable energy. And you might feel stuck or confused right now, but that is not necessarily the reality, okay? It may feel that way, but you are moving into joy. You are moving into the full expression of yourself, and you are going to find balance. And I do think you're going to find more relationships that work for you, okay? So I'm going to take a picture of these cards so that you can see some of them, because I pulled a bunch. But I do think that you're moving in a good direction. That's what I'm getting. Okay, I'm going to roll some dice about this. I got the sun in the sign of Pisces in the 4th house. Okay, so you may need to step away from people for a little while, regroup yourself, re-nurture yourself. It's almost like you have to like remother yourself in a way, and know that you are allowed to feel the way you feel too. Maybe you needed to step away from people for a little while and process, but that's okay. It's part of the healing, okay? Now, I'm going to also roll some dice to look for some power days for you this month, okay? So let's see what we've got. So we rolled Neptune. It's so funny, that came up for each pile. Neptune, Scorpio, 6th house, okay? So, first of all, outside of the power days, if you're feeling lousy, if you've been feeling run down, or you think that something's wrong with you health-wise, I'm getting a lot of vibes that it's just emotional, okay? Neptune, 6th house. A lot of times, I know I have that. We feel like something's wrong, but really a lot of it has to do with emotions. And sometimes they can't find anything because it's in our fluid body. Okay. Not to say not to go to the doctor if you need to, please do. But just know that there's a lot of emotional healing going on right now for you. Now, Neptune is associated, rules the sign Pisces, right? So the moon will be in Pisces from Monday the 20th through till lunchtime on Wednesday the 22nd, okay? These are power times for you. You rolled Scorpio. We have a Scorpio new moon this month. And so it's going to be a very powerful time of transformation and change for you. I hope that you will get some extra rest. This begins on, hold on, bear with me, I'll find it. The new moon is on the 13th, but the moon will move into Scorpio after lunch on the 11th, and it will be in Scorpio until about 9:30 on the 13th in the evening. So get extra rest, journal, contemplate what's coming up, what your fluid body is telling you, what your emotional body is telling you, okay? Then you've got some energy around the time of Virgo. So we know the moon will be in Virgo on the evening of after lunch on the 6th into the 7th and until the 8th, all of the 8th, until the 9th in the middle of the night, 3:08 a.m. Okay, so those are your power days. I'm so happy you joined me, pile number 3. I wish you all the best.